listening to this training call on Traffix devices. We appreciate you assisting with the enrollment this year, and we are going to now just go over the specifics of the enrollment and the plans and the expectations so that you all understand what the broker's office and what the group would like you to do. Jacinda is here from the broker's office, and I'm just going to have her real quick share a little bit about the group. So if you could do that, Jacinda, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, thanks. So Traffix Devices, as you may already know, is a highway safety. They create highway safety devices, and we have a few locations. We'll be doing a meeting in Adelanto, California, San Clemente, California, and in Iowa. So there's bilingual, a need for Spanish-speaking enrollers in the San Clemente and Adelanto office. This year, should I go into like the plans and what we're renewing with and such?
Yes.
Okay,
but
great.
We'll get to the plans still in a little bit. I just wanted to the background on the group right now.
Right, and so the contacts for Iowa would be Morris, and for San Clemente and Adelanto, the contact at the group will be Jennifer Reynolds and Randy Gloyd.
Jennifer and Wendy. Okay. Thank you, Jacinda. Now, real quick, just going to go over the list of the benefits that we have offered at this group. The benefits are continuing the same as last year, except there's the addition of one medical plan for the Iowa employees.
Correct. That is correct.
Oh, okay. So they have an Anthem Blue Cross Classic PPO for either California or out of state. They have the Anthem Blue Cross Elements PPO that's new this year. And is that one just for out of state? It's not.
That is only for the Iowa employees. That is not to be discussed with the California employees. The reason for that is because there's different rates if you offer something alongside for the out-of-state, or if we offered it alongside for in and out-of-state. So it is only for the Iowa employees.
All right, and that's how I have it set up in our system right now. It will only pull up for employees that are in Iowa. All right, then they have the Anthem Blue Cross Premier HMO 20 Select, which is California only since it is a HMO. And then the Anthem Blue Cross Premier, the Premier HMO 20, which is California only.
And that Select is a smaller network, and the second plan, the Anthem Blue Cross Premier traditional HMO 20, that's the full network.
The full network. Okay.
So they are both the same exact medical plan with the same medical benefits. One just has a smaller network of providers to choose from, which is the Select.
Got it. And then I have down that since these are existing plans, the employees only need to fill out an enrollment form if they're making a change or adding medical. Is that correct?
If they're making a change, such as adding a dependent, or if they're going from one plan to another, or if they're coming onto the plan for the first time.
Okay. And then will those enrollment applications be at each location?
I'm sorry?
Will those Anthem applications be at each location?
Yes. The kits all include an application, benefits, and a brochure, and a coverage confirmation worksheet, which the employer is requiring everyone to fill out a coverage confirmation worksheet, whether or not they're electing or waiving coverage, because they want to make sure that they have waivers on file. So everybody at a minimum will need to complete the coverage confirmation worksheet. And if they're waiving, they just check the box that they're waiving coverage and sign the back. If they're electing, they need to check the box with their elections and turn in the form along with if they're making a change. So the coverage confirmation worksheet is if existing employees are keeping the same plans, they're essentially just accepting the new payroll deductions.
Got it. And can you, I don't remember if I've received a copy of those. Can you send me a copy of the?
Absolutely.
So that I can give it to the benefit counselor so they can see it in advance. Yep. Alrighty. Then dental insurance. We are continuing the same plans. They have a DHMO plan that's California only, and then they have the DPPO plan, which is California and out of state through MetLife.
Correct.
And the same situation occurs. They need to fill out an enrollment form only if changing plans or changing coverage tiers or adding it for the first time.
That is correct.
And the same with the Anthem Blueview Vision. It's the Blue Cross Choice Vision. It's an existing plan. You only need to fill out the enrollment form if making a change or adding the vision.
That is correct.
And then the MetLife, we started last year with the voluntary life through MetLife. We started last year, and it is continuing, and it's an existing plan. So employees will have to fill out forms if they're going to add some existing benefits this year or make change. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the life a little bit later.
Okay, great. Yes, we need to get into some more detail about the voluntary life. We want to make sure that there's no confusion over it. There was some confusion last year, and I think that was a combination confusion. It was a new benefit. It wasn't presented entirely clearly, which it added to some confusion, and then there was some benefit discrepancies throughout the year. So we just want to make sure that there's no discrepancies and it's enrolled clearly and communicated clearly.
Okay, and we will do that. And I think part of the issue last year was the grandfathering issue that didn't follow the rules of the MetLife plans that was outside the parameters, and so it confused the system. But now that all that's taken care of, we should be okay.
Correct.
Alrighty. So we're going to remember to fill out the forms. I want to scroll down. Let's see. Oh, and now I have underlined that there's an enrollment form for the course selections that every employee has to fill out. So we'll get you, and Jacinda already talked about that, we'll get you that form so that you can see it in advance. And you will leave all those forms with the contact at the location. And the contact
that is correct. The kits for Iowa will already be available. They will be shipped out shortly. And the form that Andrea is referencing is called a coverage confirmation worksheet.
All right. So got it, everybody? Coverage. I'll type that here. It is called the coverage confirmation. I'll go back and correct my spelling later, but I just want to get it here so that we have it, so that you know what it's called. And then you can easily find it when I send it to you as a document. Okay, so that, remember, is a form that every employee has to fill out, whether they waive or take the coverage or keep the same.
Correct.
Alrighty then. Alrighty, so now, briefly, we have some specific instructions that I put right here because I didn't have a big enough spot. My little boxes didn't fit. But I wanted everybody to understand that the voluntary life is not new this year. So if they're a new hire, they can get the voluntary life up to the guaranteed issue amount without the EOI
Statement of health. Correct.
Yeah, statement of health form. But if they are not a new employee, they can get one increment unit, which is basically, I think, $10,000 for the employee or $5,000 for the spouse, and then anything above that, they will have to fill out the statement of health or the EOI form.
That is correct. It is very important to know what the increments are and what they're eligible for. So a statement of health is definitely going to be required if an employee waives coverage during their initial eligibility enrollment period and is electing now at open enrollment. They do need a statement of health.
Okay, and then the employee, they can get $10,000 to $500,000 or 5 times their salary in increments of $10,000. The guaranteed issue max for new hires only, should probably type that in here.
Yes, for new hires only is the guaranteed issue.
Is $100,000, and all other employees can get an increment of $10,000 without having to do a statement of health form or an EOI form.
Correct.
Any existing employees who didn't get, like last year, they can get $10,000 without a statement of health. Anything above that, they have to have a EOI statement of health form.
Correct.
Now, the spouse is $5,000 to $100,000 in increments of $5,000. The guaranteed issue max is $25,000 for new hires only.
That is correct, meaning if their spouse works at the employee of the spouse works at Traffix Devices and they did not enroll during their initial enrollment period, because the spouse obviously cannot be a new hire, right? It's the employee who's the new hire. So if the spouse waived, then if the employee waived, then the spouse will need to complete a statement of health if they're waived during the employee's initial enrollment period and are coming on during open enrollment.
Right. And otherwise, the increment that they can get without a statement of health is $5,000.
Correct.
All right. Then the dependents can get flat amounts of $1,000 or $2,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 or $10,000, and the guaranteed issue max is $10,000.
That is correct. And the real quick, let me pull up one thing about the dependent children is there is a birth to 6 months. Give me 1 second.
I think they only get $1,000.
That is correct, because it says guarantee issue all amounts, but that is only for children. The benefit listed for children from 6 months to age 26. Anyone less than 6 months, the benefit is only $1,000. A statement of health will be required again for all employees who previously declined, electing an additional amount at open enrollment more than the one-up, and anyone electing more than the guarantee issue.
Now, for the children, is the one-up $1,000?
That is correct, because let's say they're 10 years old and they're currently enrolled with $4,000 in coverage. The one-up would be the $5,000. But after $5,000, it goes to $10,000. That's the next increment.
And so, if they did that, would they still have to fill out an EOI form because it's over $1,000, or would it?
No, I believe that's the next increment. But let me just double check. I don't know that there's a lot of people enrolled with the voluntary child life.
Most of the time, they usually, if they get it, they're just going to. It's very inexpensive. They'll just get the guaranteed issue amount of the $10,000.
Right.
Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to give the first password, just into looking that up, and it is going to be Thanksgiving. And I'm going to scroll and start the medical while you're looking that information up. And the medical, we have the same plans as last year. We've already talked about them a little bit. You will find all of their current existing plans under the existing benefit tab. So you just have to open up the existing benefit tab, look at what they have. If they're keeping the same, then you just select the same, so the same plan shows on their election form. And they all have to fill out that Traffix Devices and that enrollment form that we already labeled the name, and I forgot the name already. Boy, I'm pretty bad. The coverage confirmation worksheet, so they all have to fill out the coverage confirmation.
CCW. Yeah.
Okay. So we've got to remember to have that filled out for everybody. And last year, Jennifer wanted a second election form with a wet signature. Does she still want a wet signature?
On the coverage confirmation worksheet?
No, on our colonial election form.
She did not indicate.
She did, because last year she wanted a second one printed where the employee signed a wet signature on it.
She did not indicate, but if that's what she wanted last year, I would assume that that's what she's going to want this year. She did not make any indication as to needing two signed. So she's saying one for your records and one wet signature for their records?
Yes.
Okay, then I would say that that's probably a safe assumption.
Okay.
Let's just go with what she wanted last year.
All right, we'll go with what she wanted last year. All right, I'm going to start out really quick with the Anthem Premier HMO 20 traditional. It's in California only. It has an annual copay of $1,500 for an individual, $3,000 for a family. A doctor's office visit copay of $20. The outpatient surgery is $100 for admittance. The inpatient is $200, and an emergency care visit is $100 a visit. Now this uses the Premier network, which is the fuller network. So this is going to be more expensive than the other plan that's exactly the same, the HMO 20 Select, and that one uses the Select network, which is a smaller network. And the pharmacy for both those plans is $10 for generic, $25 for brand, and $45 for non-formulary.
Correct.
And okay, then there's the classic PPO plan that can be purchased in either California or out of state. The annual copay.
One thing to note real quick, Andrea, on the California and out of state is there is a different rate on the PPO 500 for the folks out of state. And the reason for that this year is because we're offering another PPO plan alongside it. Just wanted to make sure that the enrollers are clear. It's a different rate out of state.
Right, and I have the plans selected. They're set that the correct plan will pull up for the correct state, so that there won't be any mix-up. And I just wanted to check what you sent me to be sure. Okay, yeah, I do see that it was different. Okay. And so you got to double check their location. The location is what's going to be important to pull up the correct plan. So if Iowa was selected as the location or out of state, then the correct plan with the correct rates will pull up. And the same as if California is selected, then the correct plans like the HMO plans and the correct PPO plan will pull up. So the information will already be there from the census that was received because I had census separated by state, but it's always important to double check the profile information before you proceed to the enrollment screen. All right, now the classic PPO has an annual copay of $3,500 for the individual, $7,000 for the family. The calendar year deductible is $500 for the individual and $1,500 for the family. The doctor's office visit copay is $20, and then outpatient and inpatient is 20%. Copay in the emergency room is $150 deduction plus 20% of additional. So
right, and that 20% is after deductible.
Right, is after the deductible. They got to pay up till they get to their deductible. And the prescription is $10 for generic, $30 for brand, and $50 for non-formulary for this classic PPO plan. And then the last plan is the newest plan that they have. It's for out-of-state only, and I labeled it wrong. It's not called classic. Is that what that one is called?
No, it's called Elements.
It's called Elements Choice.
Elements Choice.
So let me change that to Elements Choice. I always tell my benefit counselors to not print their enrollment guide until I resend it after the training call because there's always updates. All right, so we have the Elements Choice PPO, which is the newest plan, and I'm going to let, since it's the newest plan, can you explain it? I try to get the little basic information here, but it's always good to hear direct from you guys.
Yep, absolutely. It's an individual $6,000 deductible, $12,000 for family. The out-of-pocket maximum on this plan is $6,350 for an individual or $12,700 for a family. Primary office visits are $35 copay, deductible waived. Specialist office visits are $60 copay, deductible waived. For preventive care, there's no charge, no copay, deductible waived. Inpatient, outpatient, hospitalization are no copay after deductible. So essentially, that means if someone is hospitalized on this plan, they need to hit their $6,000, and then there's coverage. So for inpatient hospitalization, outpatient surgery, diagnostic lab and X-ray, and advanced imaging, those are all subject to the no copay after deductible. So essentially, an individual on this plan needs to hit $6,000 before there's coverage for hospitalization, outpatient surgery, diagnostic lab and X-ray, and advanced imaging. This plan also has a $250 copay after deductible for emergency rooms. Urgent care is $60 copay, deductible waived. One thing to note on this plan is they do use a generic prescription drug formulary. in the prescription, so that means that is a different drug formulary than the classic PPO 500. There will be less medications to choose from in the generic formulary, and there is a $15 copay for Tier 1 drugs, $50 copay for Tier 2 drugs after a $400 prescription drug deductible, and Tier 3 medications are 30% up to $150 copay max after a $400 RX deductible. The benefits I just described are for in-network only. Out-of-network, obviously, there's a different deductible, out-of-pocket max, and share of cost for the member.
Yes, out-of-network costs are always more, so remember to tell all the employees this. Thank you.
One thing to note, yep, on this plan is Tier 4 specialty drugs are not covered. This does not have a Tier 4 medication coverage like the classic PPO. So not only is it a different formulary, it only covers 3 tiers, and the other plan only covers all 4 tiers.
Got it. Okay, so you all will have copies of the plan summary. So in the enrollment guide, there's just really minimum basic stuff. Please look over the plan summaries so that you have more knowledge about it. Now, I think I put your phone number in here. If anybody has any questions, or they get an employee that has a question that they can't answer, they can call you, can't they, Jacinda?
Absolutely. Please.
Now,
I would prefer.
Is there another number that I have? 626-535-1484. Is there
Nope.
a cell phone number? Is that a good number?
That's my number. That's my direct dial to the office.
Okay. So if you have any, if you have any employees that ask you a question about any plans that when you're looking through the plan summaries you can't answer, please give Jacinda a call and she will find the information out that you need. All right, then the vision plan real quick is the Blue Cross Choice Vision Plan. The eye exam is $10 copay every 12 months. The frames, there's a $130 allowance every 12 months. The lenses are $10 copay for standard lenses every 12 months. And contact lenses are a $130 allowance every 12 months, and they can get lenses or contacts. Can't get both.
Correct. That is correct.
It's in lieu of it. And can you think of anything else I need to know about the vision plan, or is that the basic vision plan?
The one thing, since it is a 12-month benefit, one thing to know is that if it's the 12 months from the date that you receive something, so it's not the, plan year. So like the plan year is January to December, but if someone got frames and lenses in November, come January they cannot get contacts. They'd have to wait again until the following November.
All right, that is good to know. All righty, then the 2 dental plans. We have the PPO plan that's available in California and out of state. The annual deductible is $50 for an individual, $150 for a family. The annual max that they can get there is $3,000, but the ortho max is $1,000. The type A preventative is covered 100%. The basic is covered 80%. The major services are covered 50%, and ortho is covered 50%. Can you think of anything else they need to know about the PPO dental?
Yes, absolutely. I always want to make sure that members are aware that when obtaining services from a dentist, anything other than the preventive services, always make sure that you get a pre-treatment estimate and an authorization from MetLife prior to agreeing to the services, because just because your dentist says that you need it doesn't mean that it's actually a covered benefit or necessary in the eyes of MetLife. So there could be a greater out-of-pocket cost for the member if they get services without a pre-treatment authorization from MetLife. So make sure that that always happens first before they agree to, a laundry list of dental services.
So even with the PPO, then they need to get.
You always want to make sure everything is pre-authorized by MetLife. So if your dentist says you need, A, B, and C, make sure that they call MetLife and that it's, they get an authorization for those services, right? Because if something MetLife disputes, you don't, the member can come back and end up having to pay out of pocket for that particular, service.
Okay. And then this one got labeled wrong. It's amazing what you can find when you go through your it's the DHMO, not the MetLife DHMO is a direct referral dental plan, California only. It uses the Safeguard network, and it has a schedule of benefits. So it has a range of costs depending on the service that the employee is looking for. And I put some of the ranges here, but they always need to specifically ask the dentist what the cost is going to be.
Right, and also on this plan, there is a copay schedule that is included in the packet, so they can always refer to their copay schedule.
Okay.
And services vary based on a particular copay. Like for example, we always list, let's say, like endodontics 0 to 275, right? That's for the actual root canal, but there's a lot of steps that go into a root canal. There's like the pulp cap, and there's a lot of other things. So always check your again your pre-treatment estimate from the dentist, and you can compare it to your copay schedule. And you can always call MetLife if you feel that there is a discrepancy in what the dentist is charging and what's listed on your copay schedule.
Okay, we got that. And then the last one that we had is they had the Anthem group life, which is, but that one we don't really need to enroll employees because the employees are automatically enrolled in it when they become eligible. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay, so they do have $25,000 that's paid for by the employer, and they're automatically enrolled in it when they become eligible. All right, I'm trying to think. Is there any other? I don't think there's anything else you think you need to say about the benefits that the Anthem and MetLife benefits that we're going to be enrolling.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Is there anything else that you can think of that we need to tell the
No.
Okay, then real quick, I'm just going to go over the Colonial benefits. We're continuing to offer our accident plan, preferred or premier with health, and has off-the-job self-disability rider. The Disability 1000 plan is still being offered, off-the-job disability post-tax only, and there is post-enrollment guaranteed issue to $4,000 just for new hires, since this is the second year with this plan. We're still offering the cancer plans 2 and 3. We're still offering the critical illness 1.0 with subsequent diagnosis and health. And then we're still offering the Medical Bridge 3000, the plan 2 with the levels 2 and 4, the $1,000 and the $2,000 hospital confinement options to fit in with their medical plans to help cover some of the co-pays that they have to pay, so there's less out of pocket for them. And then they have option 1 for outpatient surgery. We do not have life on the menu because they have the MetLife that's available. And I think everything for this is going to be effective for January 1st. So, but we want everything to be done as smoothly and as quickly as possible. So after you listen to this training, if you have any questions, please reach out to myself or Jacinda, because her number is in the enrollment guide if you have any questions on what you've heard today. Otherwise, we thank you for attending our training call and listening to it, and please send me the password when you complete it, and the second password is going to be Traffix. So Thanksgiving is the first password, and Traffix is the second password. And thank you, everybody. And
thank you.
Thank you.